Yep, we're good.
Hi, Mitch.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and welcome to a new era in climate in Massachusetts. It's a great new thing.
Shabbat Shalom. Hi, Will. Hi, Selena. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. And almost Chag Sameach.
Almost.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Rabbis, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. All right, we're gonna mute everyone. We're gonna get started, and we'll enjoy some Oneg visiting. After
Can you
we
crank your
praise.
volume up a little?
Good to see. It's good to see everyone.
Rabbi Micah, can you
Turn
crank
my
your
volume
volume
up
up
a
a
bit.
little? It's a little low.
It's a little low. Okay, I want to try something really quick, Tim, and you'll tell me. I appreciate you telling me that. Does it sound louder now, or is it the same?
Not the same.
Okay, I'll turn it up a little more. The issue is I don't want it, going to that orange. But here goes. You'll tell me. Hopefully, you guys on your screen can turn your computers up. Is that better?
Yeah, that is better.
That is. Okay, good. Shabbat Shalom. We are going to keep singing before we greet one another. On page 11, you can find the words to Dodi Lee, I am my beloved, and my beloved is mine, from the Song of Songs, which is both read on Shabbat in the Yemeni community and many other Jews of Eastern origin, their communities, but especially on Passover. It's our scroll reminding us of spring. Page 11. בשושנים Shoshanim, Dodi Li, Bani Lo Haroeh, Bashoshanim, Libatini, Achoti Kala, Libatini Kala, Libatini, Achoti Kala, Libatini Kala. Shabbat Shalom. Wonderful to see everyone. What a special Shabbat this is as we bring in the holiness of this day. And as we say goodbye in 24 hours, we sit down at our Seder tables. So it's one of those, it's almost like an eclipse. It's the celestial bodies are coming together to make this wonderful 48-hour period that we get to experience every few years, and that's a blessing. I'm going to put on gallery view so everyone can wave a Shabbat Shalom. So wave. Hopefully soon we'll be back in the parking lot. We'll get even closer for an air high five, maybe even an elbow bump. It's good to see everybody's faces.
And welcome to everyone who's joining us through live stream as well. Shabbat Shalom.
And it's wonderful to have, let's see, about half, 2/3 of the Cooperschmidt family with us. That's really terrific.
We're going to continue to bring in Shabbat on page 24 with Shalom Aleichem as we welcome in the Shabbat messengers of peace, ushering in another Shabbat. Page 24.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shalom Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Seichem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Our dog Iggy heard everyone's Shabbat greetings and decided to join us.
He was like our Shabbat angel. He
know,
looks like
there
an
he
angel.
goes.
Came in.
We're honored to invite Marcia Perna to bless our Shabbat candles this evening, and Marcia's with us on Zoom. So we will turn our screen over to you, Marcia. We're on page 2 in our prayer book.
Oh, wait. Marcia, you're muted. Just unmute you. There you go.
Mute. There we go. All right. Sorry, this is very. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Marcia. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom. All right, there we go.
There you go. Okay. And offer these words on page 9. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God, and we greet the Shabbat bride, pages 20 and 21, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. Shamor v'zachor ediborecha ishmiyanu el hameyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad v'shemo tiferet v'nitila Adoni likrat tala Pnei Shabbat Pnei Shabbat Mekabela Nikra Shabbat Lechu v'necha Ki mekor haberacha Berosh miknetem Me'esucha sof ma'aseh V'machshavat nidalecha
Comfortable, we invite you to remain standing for our call to prayer. On page 28, we begin with English words asking that we be in this moment, that we are prepared. And Pesach is the first new year biblically, so this is the time of year that again we renew ourselves and renew our presence.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared?
invite you to join with us in the English on page 31. This is an hour of change. Within it, we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it, we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravi. Continue on page 32. Please join us in singing Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Ahavta, Torah mitzvot, Chukim mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Atem Adonai Eloheinu, B'shokmeinu v'kuleinu, Nasiach b'chukecha, V'nitzvah b'divrei Toratecha, U'b'mitzvotecha, Le'olam va'ed. Ki en hayinu le'orech yameinu, le'orech yameinu. U'bahem negei yomam v'layla, yomam v'layla. V'avatcha tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevon Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Continue on page 36. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha. Ve'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha. Veshinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uv'lechtecha v'derech, uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha, u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha, leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'item kedoshim le'elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti adchem me'aretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Emet. Page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
We're going to add our Micha Mocha, our Pesach melody to Micha Mocha to Adir Hu. Micha Mocha Va'elim Adonai Micha Mocha Nedar Ba'kodesh Norat Tehilot I invite you to read with me on page 43. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'akol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. We continue with Vishamru on page 44. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש.
We will continue on page 46 with our tefillah. You're welcome to rise in body or in spirit, and we'll begin together and then continue with a few moments to add our own prayers from the heart.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
Page 48.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Vekonei Hakol Vezocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot Umevi Geula Livnei Bneihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Ata gibor le'olam Adonai, mechaye hakol ata rav le'oshia. Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem. Mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim verofeh cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar. Michamocha bal gevurot, umido melach, melech memit umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata l'chayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kdoshim b'chol yom yalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. I thought I just did. Our prayer for peace is on page 62.
take this moment to turn our thoughts to healing, healing of body, healing of spirit and soul. You can find Misha Berach on page 253, as we especially pray for these members of our community and members of our families. Colin Monroe, Jerry Seligman, Mary Lou Hole, Janet Watson, Paul Robillard, Elizabeth Hill, Kelso Silva, Enrico Mascaro, Deborah Booker, Dick Feibelman, Mordechai Ben-Chaya Rivka, Amy Seith, Robert Bloom, Annalise Stone, Bernard Tarr, Benjamin Horowitz, Bradley Dichter, Mateo Goldman, Judy Cook, Fruma Bat Harab, Jacob Visonia, Dan Ruggiero, Harvey Grassfield, Toby Weiner, Svetlana Rabinovich, Devorah Bat Rutvitsvidov, Bob Weller, Daya Harel, Herb Brovsky, Herb Kupferschmidt, Asya Rushevskaya. I invite you to add any other names into the chat or to name anyone else in your hearts, and we'll join together.
The source of strength, who bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. Every year, hundreds of giant green sea turtles swim hundreds of miles from their natural habitat on the Brazilian coast to tiny Ascension Island in the Atlantic Ocean in order to mate. For years, researcher and conservation biologist Archie Carr tried to understand how the turtles found their way to the island from such a great distance, when even airplanes had trouble discovering it. Carr's conclusions were fascinating. He claimed that the turtles navigate using genetic memory. Millions of years ago, when a strip of land bisected the Atlantic, the journey from Brazil to the closest stretch of the eastern shore was only a short swim. That land was submerged millions of years ago. But the turtles, driven by some kind of powerful memory force, still search and find that last remaining remnant of the world that disappeared into the ocean, Ascension Island. My childhood friend, who has researched sea turtles, explained to me in lay terms how turtles will return to the same section of the beach within less than a mile of the exact location to lay their eggs 20 years later. There is a Jewish lesson in this mystifying turtle behavior. Every year, the turtles return to perpetuate the species and their memory. Every Passover, we do the same. Each year, we return to the same rituals and the same story. Our Seder rests on memory. But unlike the turtles, each year we can discover new meaning, something new and different. Why is this night different from all other nights? The answers have to do with our memories. The memories that are passed on to us and the memories that we create. It is the night before Passover, and this year especially we get to link one holy time to the next, Kodesh LeKodesh, as Shabbat turns into Pesach. If you are like us in our home, there is still much to do before we are ready for tomorrow night. As some of us discussed last week at the Women's Seder, Passover preparations can be stressful, meaningful, delightful, or all of these. I think that Passover preparations are so meaningful because what we are really doing is preparing to make memories. And making memory is a big responsibility. On this Shabbat Hagadol, the great Sabbath before Passover, I invite you to join me in reflecting upon 4 Passover memories, 4 eternal themes that we will hopefully be blessed to experience again in the days ahead. Number 1, remember Hillel. Once again, we will taste the bread of affliction, the salty tears, and the 4 cups of wine. And we will read Hillel's instruction in the Haggadah about the famous Seder sandwich that now bears his name. Thousands of years ago, it was Hillel's custom to eat the matzah, maror, and charoset together, mixing bitter and sweet.
Okay.
Sorry, our screen muted all of a sudden. Well, I'm not sure where I left off, but
Hillel sandwich.
Number 1, remember Hillel.
The last word was sweet. Sweet.
So Hillel, of course, started the famous custom of mixing matzah, maror, and charoset, mixing the bitter and the sweet. Anthropologist and author John Allen writes, for us humans, meals like the Passover Seder are not just food feasts, they are memory feasts. Even when we cannot be with all of our loved ones around the table this year, eating the same foods connect us to our faith and history and one another. So not only do we remember Hillel, we remember all of our loved ones' recipes that we cherish. The food is important. Number 2, remember to say thank you. Every Passover we say Dayenu, it would have been enough. While singing and rejoicing, this one word reminds us to be grateful. Looking back on years of slavery and brutality, the rabbis composed this litany of blessings to recognize that even if God had performed only one miracle for our people, that would have been enough. I recently came across a great translation of the word Dayenu. Thank you, God, for overdoing it. In this year, which has lacked so much, when it has been far easier to count the losses, remember to focus on gratitude. What is one thing that you are thankful for? What is something in our lives to respond to with Dayenu? Number 3, remember the stranger. The ritual and ethical imperative of Passover is to remember that we were once strangers in Egypt. We don't just tell our story, we experience it, we relive it in order to cultivate radical empathy. We must remember so that we will condemn and speak out against racial injustice anti-Asian xenophobia, and all kinds of hate. Rabbi Cantor Angela Buchdal, daughter of a Jewish American father and a Korean Buddhist mother, recently said, reflecting on the surge in anti-Asian violence, "This year, for the first time since childhood, I will be putting kimchi back on my Seder plate. Because as long as my mother is still in a kind of Egypt, I am too." She continues, "We left Egypt as an Erev Rav, a mixed multitude. The motley band who fled was a diverse group, joined not by one color, but one dream, liberation. We remain a mixed multitude today, and we know the promise of redemption must be for everyone." And number 4, remember the mud. Those of us here in New England, we are familiar with the term mud season. The blank canvas of time before spring blossoms emerge to brighten the scene. Educator Parker Palmer reminds us of the miracle in mud. He writes, "The smallest and most tender shoots insist on having their way, pressing up through the ground that looked only a few weeks earlier as if it would never grow anything again." This is also a Passover memory. Throughout the Seder, we recognize symbols of springtime. But spring, of course, is a metaphor for hope and renewal. Our people trudge through mud and darkness toward light and freedom. Even while we do not know what will transpire in the year to come, we boldly and hopefully conclude our Seder with the words, "Next year in Jerusalem, next year at Temple Beth David, next year together." Tender shoots of life will emerge again from the mud. Memories of food, of gratitude, of justice, and of hope. Tomorrow night, like the turtles, we will return to our holy space and holy time as a Jewish people. Why is this night different from all other nights? As you prepare for Seder, remember, you are shaping holy memories, and these memories will guide us back again next year. Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach. It is true, I have a childhood friend who I've known since age 5 who works with sea turtles. I do want to invite you to continue celebrating Shabbat tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. with our lay-led minyan, and I heard from Rich Lustig that there's going to be some additional sharing of Song of Songs in the special cantillation, so that is something to look forward to. You can also, if you have young children with you, at 9:30 a.m., join me and Rabbi Micah on the Temple's Barbara Zub Intergenerational Playground. We're going to be meeting families with young children for a Tot Shabbat and pre-Passover party on the playground. So you have to sign the health consent to come. It's outdoors only. We're going to have a chametz scavenger hunt and some crafts to take home for the Seder.
The chametz is bagged. You can't eat it at Temple, but you can bring it home. How's that for a hint?
All right, we're going to have fun. We do wish everyone meaningful Seders ahead, and check your weekly shofar.
Mark Alden
as
has a hand raised.
And just check your weekly shofar as always for upcoming programs and learning. You'll see that April's a very full month with so many opportunities to stay together. And I'll just mention also that the shofar newsletter for April, May, and June will be coming out next week. Mark, do you want to add something?
I did on the Saturday morning, since I'm leading the discussion. We will be doing a discussion for Passover. We're going to be doing from Shabbat Hagadol, which it is tomorrow. We're going to be doing Malachi, and we're going to be looking at a Baal Shem Tov parable about Passover in the Messiah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mark. So maybe I was wrong about Song of Songs. I'm not sure. Okay. Again, we're so glad you're with us tonight. We're going to move into our concluding prayers, and when we reach the end, we'll invite those who are on Zoom to unmute and greet one another and join for Motzi. We are going to turn to page 282 for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tekir l'yotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu kimishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. We continue on page 289. In nature's ebb and flow, God's eternal law abides. When tears dim our vision or grief clouds our understanding, we often lose sight of God's eternal plan. Yet we know that growth and decay, life and death, all reveal a divine purpose. God, who is our support in the struggles of life, is also our hope in death. We have set God before us, and we shall not despair. In God's hands are the souls of all the living and the spirits of all flesh. Under God's protection we abide, and by God's love we are comforted. Life of our life, soul of our soul, cause your light to shine in our hearts and fill our spirits with abiding trust in you. This Shabbat we are in the period of Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning and remembrance for Bob Doucette, brother-in-law of Jane Feibelman, Esther Berman, grandmother of Jonah Berman, Vladimir Khrushchevsky, friend of Bonnie Wellens, and Teresa Aceta, mother of Don Aceta, mother-in-law of Barbara, grandmother of Deborah and David Pedersen, great-grandmother of Leif and Freya. It is the yahrzeit in this Shabbat of Evelyn Bernstein, Rose Davidson, Jose Fantova, Joanne Foreman, Sadie Goldhaber, Ellen Gordet, Stephanie Gorovoy, Edward Kaminsky, Gladys Kaufman, Rosalie Cooperschmidt, Rose Kayet, Jules Leventhal, Alan Marcus, Pauline Margolis, Charlotte Martin, Harrison B. Siegel, Lynn Cypress, Shirley Kaplan Soroka, Irene Sarah Tarr, Marion Woolwich, Sadie Krensky, and Albert Rosen. And we invite you to hold the names of loved ones in your heart. You're also welcome to share those names in the chat. And together on page 294, we praise God's name. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam ulamei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shemei d'kudsha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen. We are going...
and just before we conclude, I know the Kaminsky family is with us on live stream, and I forgot to say last week, hopefully you all saw the email, but I hope you'll join me in wishing our own Temple member, Lynn Kaminsky, Mazel Tov, as she will become the first ever director of our new Shalom Corner Early Learning Center at Temple Beth David. Lynn is a longtime early childhood educator, and we are thrilled for her new position and for the future of our Temple community. So hopefully you can send a little mazel tov her way.
A few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, I finished Dvar Torah with the notion of Od Tireh, the promise of next year. And that's sort of the idea of the season. As we end Seder, we say L'shana haba'ah b'Yerushalayim. We hope that as we've gone through a night of starting in degradation and going into exaltation, that it will carry us further into the year ahead, that will be at a better place, and we certainly hope for that. So we turn to the modern Hebrew words of Ehud Manor, Bashana Haba'ah Neshev al Hamirpeset Od Tireh. Wait and see how good it will be. We're on page 348, so you can follow along. And we're going to sing verses 1 and 3. O Tireh, kama tov yeh, bashana haba'ah. O Tireh, kama tov yeh, bashana haba'ah. Bashana נשב על המרפסת ונזמור ציפורים מעודדות, ילדים בחושה ישחקו תופסת בין הבית לבין השדות. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. עוד last verse. Bashana haba'ah nifros kapot yadayim ha'or hanigar halavan anafa levana tifros ka'or nafayim ve'hashemesh tizrach betochan. Od tireh kama tov yeh bashana haba'ah. Od tireh kama tov yeh bashana haba'ah. Ya elai lai, 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 ya elai lai. Okay. I'm just going to change my view for a moment. If anyone has Kiddush cup nearby and would like to lead us, we invite you, or we're happy to do the honors, but thought we'd put it out there into cyberspace. All right, here goes. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצבנו, ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון ינחילנו, זיכרון למעשה וראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש Shabbat.
L'chaim.
L'chaim. And I was remiss, it looks like the whole Cooper Schmidt family is there. I see, that's great, good.
You are.
All right, I didn't want to leave anyone out.
Correct.
Oh.
Well, we hope that you have some challah and can enjoy this last piece of challah before tomorrow night. And actually, next Shabbat we will be joined on Zoom with Kayla Jackson, who will become bat mitzvah next Shabbat, and her family. So we hope you'll join us Friday night and Shabbat morning if you'd like to support Kayla. You are welcome to unmute those of you who are on Zoom. And
I'll wait till the blessing.
That was Iggy. Okay.
Oh yeah, that was not. That was to Iggy.
All right. Please join us.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ha'aretz yitachem min ha'aretz. Amen. Do you say amen? Yavon.
Good Shabbos, everyone, and happy Passover.
Shabbat shalom.